So, Karanjee, thank you so much for coming today on my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know this is out of your comfort zone because you've told me you don't really talk a lot. So I'm going to try and get you out of that. So, firstly, can you tell everyone like something about you? Because I don't think people know a lot about you. So, as I was just saying to you, I feel like there's modelling, what people know about you in the media, and obviously they see articles about you in the paper, but there's a real entrepreneur kind of strand to you. Actually, it's quite strong actually, because you talk about property and you talk about photography, you talk about your film work and stuff. So I think it'd be really interesting for people to know a bit more about you.
So originally, I never started modeling. So it's something which kind of came in later on in my career. When I was 14, I actually did a lot of filming.
Right.
So I did my first ever film with this Afghan journalist. He's an Afghan Sikh as well. His name is trailblazing. If you go on like YouTube, right, the Dutch Sikh.
Yeah.
So he did a lot of work.
Dutch Sikh.
The Dutch Sikh. So he's Afghan, but he came from Netherlands. So I used to go out and film a lot of stuff with him. And later on, then I went into studying media. So I did creative media production at college. I didn't do media in school, but I was working for C Channel during I was in school. And then I did film at university. So before even modeling, I'm more of a film person. But it's more towards documenting people's lives, history. Like when I made my first film, which was about Hindko. So Hindko is the language which I speak.
Right.
Yeah, so I know you asked me the question before. Do you speak Punjabi? Yeah. So
that's a bad judgment, right? I should have done that. Okay,
no, it's fine. So like a lot of people do see this, like when people look at our turban and a guy like a Sikh, they assume that they would speak Punjabi.
Right.
But we speak Hindko, which is another dialect of Punjabi, I believe. Right. So it's quite similar, but not the same at the same time.
Right, understandably. And so. Can you speak Punjabi or do you just speak that dialect?
We speak that dialect. So it kind of like covers in Punjabi, Hindi.
So you could understand.
I can
Hindi
understand. Yeah. Right. I can understand a lot of languages which kind of work around the Hindko. Right. But I don't speak Punjabi at home, but I can speak it.
Right. So what do you speak it? So
we speak Hindko at home.
Predominantly?
Yes.
Oh wow, that's so interesting.
Not just me, a lot of people who have come from Afghanistan, and a lot of people actually that live in the Hindu Kush mountains. So that's where the language comes from.
Right.
So Hind basically in Farsi means India.
Yeah.
And Ko means the mountain. And about nearly 1,000 years ago, there's a person called Muhammad Ghaznavi.
Right.
He was the Sultan, let's say, of Ghaznavi. And he conquered India nearly about 10, 11 times in history. And he brought a lot of troops to Afghanistan. And during the journey, so when the troops kind of gather around there, that's where the language came from, because they brought in the language in Afghanistan even before Sikh existed.
Right. Okay. So is it a mix?
It's a mix, yes. It's Punjabi in a way, but it's not Punjabi, it's not Hindi. It's a mixture of different languages. And as you know, wherever you go around the world, let's say even English, we kind of pick up things from people around us, let's say the slang that we speak today.
Absolutely. So it depends on, we all speak English, but it depends on what region you're from in the country, right?
Exactly. And you pick up little things, and that's how the Hindko language became Hindko today, because we always pick up things from another country, people, and then we speak within, like, in our language day to day.
So this is something that people wouldn't know about you, so which is amazing. So you started actually your film work, and you started in that part of creativity, you could probably say.
Yeah.
So where did modelling come from?
So as you remember when Paddy Bara came along, the Sing Street Dance, which was like a major thing within the Sikh community. So I had the chance to meet him. We went out and we did a shoot together. And because of my height was always quite tall.
Yeah, I mean, you're very tall. I mean, I wasn't expecting how tall, but you're about, what, 6'1"?
6'1".
Right, okay.
Yeah. And I wanted to get into modeling, but I didn't want to become like a social kind of thing. I wanted to go into mainstream fashion.
Right, actually, yeah. As in, not proper modeling, but you get what I mean. Because there's a kind of influencer modeling, isn't there?
Yeah.
But then there's I think, what we understand as real modeling.
It's like catwalks,
Yes,
magazine,
exactly, right.
fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to do, because I believe in the path of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji never settled in one place. He
Right.
always traveled. He always went around different places to spread Naam,
Right.
you know. So he wanted other people to know what God is, and that's what I wanted to do in a way, to teach people about Sikhism. And I would not be able to teach Sikhism in a place where Sikhism already existed.
Yeah.
So it will be more like going to basic, telling people who do not know about Sikhi and teaching them what a Sikh means.
Absolutely, because you're making more of an impact this way, aren't you?
Trying to.
Well, trying to. Well, I think you are. I mean, like, you know, when I told people you were coming on, they were like, oh my God, like amazing. And I was like, he's not done a podcast before. So a lot of people, I mean, even when I sort of searched you to look at videos and stuff, I don't think anyone has heard you speak.
I'm always a bit of a shy guy when it comes to talking. Also because English is not my first language.
Which is shocking because you sound so English, if that's the right even technical way of saying it.
I don't know.
No, probably not.
I guess so. But I always kind of like just don't really like talking as much.
No,
because I don't want
people
to make fun of me and all of that. So I just try to stay away from talking much. But
so where does that come from? Because obviously you weren't born here. You weren't born in the UK. So, I mean, could that have stemmed from you arriving over here at 8 years old from Afghanistan and then
I think that
struggle?
kind of triggered it.
Yeah.
Because when I first got here, we moved to Liverpool, where people kind of like took the.
Well, that's really different.
Yeah,
I mean, talking about dialects. Oh, really?
Yeah, that was when I was like around 8, 9 years old. So very new to UK, had no idea what Southall was about, no idea what London was. Because when you are moving from one other country, first thing is the language. You do not know what people speak. They were looking at me as if I thought I was an alien, and then they looked at my dad with a turban. And especially in Liverpool, there's no Asian community that exists. I'm talking about 2007, 2008.
I mean, that's not long ago.
It's not long ago, but the movement didn't really happen back then. It was still very kind of like, because social media did not existed.
No. I mean, I remember, I'm the generation that we didn't have phones. Like, phones did not exist. So I've seen, like, it's been a real learning curve for me with social media and stuff, but also opened doors to people that I would never normally speak to, you know, and that's why I wanted to do this podcast, because, like, there's a real connection. There's a closer connection with social media, which I love. So we're in Liverpool, and what your parents have decided, this is not good for you. This is.
What happens is, if you are a refugee like me,
right.
Once you come into the country, you get submitted into the immigration. Right. And the immigration decides where they want to put you.
Right.
So they moved us to Liverpool. Then after 6 months of staying there, I did my school there. It was very nice. Because the children do not know what racism is. They just only care about as a person. They were very nice to me. They wanted to learn more about me. But because I had that language barrier, I could not talk to them and tell them more about who I was. Okay. Then we moved to Wolverhampton, which I stayed there for nearly 3 years. Then I moved down to London. Because of those 4 years in my life that happened before London, I had a bit of a accent.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so I had a bit of a Brummie accent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which my nephew has now, because my sister lives in Birmingham.
Right, okay.
So whenever
and you wanted to get rid of that really quickly.
I did not even know that I had it, because, like, for me, English was just English.
Right, yeah.
I was learning English, what English was, so I was learning, and the accent just came along. But
then when you came to London, you realised people didn't sound like that.
Yeah, and it was a whole different way of people. The thing was, like, in London, when I came to Southall, there were not a lot of English people in terms of, like, because obviously I saw a lot of Asian people, but not English people, if you can try and say.
Yeah.
And people who are racist towards me were more of my own people, if that made sense.
This is a conversation I've had a lot, and this is where kind of Too British to be Asian came on, because that is a narrative that, I mean, I'm 40 now. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable saying that, but I turned 40 this year, and it's a narrative that I'm still hearing, that people, it's still happening. And so where I was kind of in my family, like you could say, first generation here. So I went through the education system, went through the career path, and so I didn't speak all like Punjabi at home. I only spoke English, so I actually don't know how to speak Punjabi. I actually don't know. Yeah, and it's a shame. And I talk about because a lot of people that can't speak their mother tongue have actually got parents that can speak the mother tongue. It's just they decided not to bring them up with that language. And when you ask about that, it's quite a sensitive subject because I think there's a slight shame in because that's part of your culture that you're not going to get now. You know, once you don't speak that language and you go into the career path and you move out and you start getting married, you sort of gravitate to the more British side because that's the side that you're more familiar with. So yeah, and so when I think college was a complete eye opener for me because there was a huge like Asian intake. Like I couldn't believe because I didn't grow up around other South Asians. So when I went to college, huge, like a massive amount.
Which college did you go to?
It was one near my mate called Orpington.
Never heard.
No, but this is it because the area actually isn't South Asian, but because of the bus routes and stuff, it's actually quite. It's so the very first you could say stop that people went on very Asian, so it's the last stop, and you can go to this college. So I think people in those sort of days were trying to get away from their sort of house and sort of like environment and community. Yes, and because what do you do if you can do that? You start doing things, smoking, for example. You start sort of like exploring other things and other people as well.
I think exploring for me, it's not. I wouldn't say look. Exploring is good because you're trying to learn things more about you.
Yeah, exactly.
What works for you, what doesn't work for you. But making a habit and using it in a wrong way where your body becomes harmful that's where things go wrong.
Oh, 100%. But I also think it's about that's part of growing up, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about 16 years. Do you know what I mean? It was so long ago now, kind of thing. But when I started like talking to different like people that were South Asian, I mean, they would always say to me about my accent, like it's so English, like, oh my God, you're like, and I used to get called coconut a lot and stuff like that, but like they would like mimic my accent because it's Southeast. So like, right, if I really get into it, like certain friends I've got are like, oh my God, that is amazing. Like I can really go into my Southeast accent. And I used to hate it because they used to talk a lot, and then that's where you're too British to be Asian, and that's where it came from.
Oh, I see.
So people were saying it to me, and I absolutely hated it. I felt stigmatized about it, and especially growing up not knowing my mother tongue. People used to say to me. So the first question I was asked, "Where are you from?" No, where are you from? As in my parents. And they were like, "Oh, can you speak?" And I'd go, "No." And then I was sort of not banished, but there was like, "Oh, okay, right." Like the acceptance wasn't there. So you had the opposite of that.
I think same where
Same.
Like how you just said, you know, because of the language, people did not accept you as who you are. It was same for me because I didn't speak Punjabi.
Right.
So I speak Hindi.
So when you came to London, people automatically thought you were Punjabi.
Yes, because that's a normal behavior. You see a person with a turban or a beard. Well, I didn't have a beard. I was very young, but I still had a different kind of turban. I had that. A jura, basically. Right. Yeah.
See, I know something.
So I had that, but I used to wear a pug when I used to go to school. Okay. Yeah, my parents are always like, they did not want me to wear a jura. It was just one thing that
they just didn't want you to go through the sort of discrimination
they wanted me to wear a pug because it was just something which they liked. And
they understood that there was prejudice,
I don't know, just one thing which they wanted.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'll leave it to them to decide. Something which I will.
Yeah.
But I did not speak Punjabi. And because I came from Afghanistan, I had a different way of understanding how people dressed up. how people behaved in a different way, because me not being British at that time, I did not know what the school environment was like, what people did, how they dressed up, and
Food though, everything like
exactly,
food
even
and-
food. But obviously, food at the time was just what you get in the canteen.
Yeah.
Um,
But from coming over from Afghanistan at 8 years old, surely even the little things like that you had to get used to.
I did have to, yeah.
Right.
I needed to kind of understand what people's behavior was like as well. What was cool, what wasn't cool. So that change impacted me a lot during my life.
It
And
must have been a struggle, you know.
it always been a struggle. Even my teachers used to say things to me, so which was
Really?
bad.
Like-
I remember one of my teachers on Facebook said, "I'm really sorry for,
No,
troubling you."
They
like, during
actually
school."
they actually remembered and came back to you.
Yeah, they messaged me on Facebook,
No.
and
What did
I
they
was
say
like,
to you? What was the
it was like, "I'm really sorry for making you feel this way and during school time. I didn't realize that it's going to impact you in this way, so I'll let it be."
so? But what did they actually say? Was it
It was more about my appearance. So I had during that time, kickers was such a massive
Gotta
thing.
remember kickers?
Yes. So for me, I always wanted to be a bit unique. I'm always kind of like the unique guy.
I love that. Yeah.
So I bought these kickers, which were a bit different from what everyone else was wearing.
The standard black with the
Yeah. So I had
Yeah.
I had a bit different type of kickers, and when I wore it, and she called me flappy feet.
flappy feet.
Yeah, she called me flappy feet
Right,
in school in front of, and this is my head teacher, by the way, not
But it's a
normal
shoe.
teacher.
It's not even the way you walk. right?
Yeah,
It's just
and
weird.
everyone was just laughing at me when I was in that room where everyone was there, and yeah, it stayed with
awful,
me
isn't
for a
it?
long time. And
And so, did you mention it on Facebook for them to reply to that? Or
no, I think I wrote in an article where I said, obviously they were in school where I
Right.
was a bit troubled, where my teachers did call me things out there, and she was like, "I'm really sorry that I called you this."
oh my god.
But sometimes people don't realize whatever you say to a child, it stays with them for a long period, because
You don't
it
know what stays with
yeah,
your child, right?
these like to remember something, you say silly things,
Yeah, rhymes and stuff. Like,
rhymes
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, so bad things stay with you for longer rather
Yeah.
than good things. So that stayed with me. It's fine, it's done now, but I just don't want anyone else to feel the same way how I
Yeah.
felt when I first came into this country. I don't want anyone to be discriminated just because of the language barrier. Because realize someone is coming here in a new location, new place. They don't know what's right or wrong.
Oh, it's traumatizing. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
why
Especially
would
from
you
a
judge
war.
them?
Yeah.
Especially,
Yeah.
especially from a war. So why would you judge them based on their appearance rather than asking them how they are, how they're feeling, are they feeling welcome where they are today? Like, just be appreciative, That's all. Like, we're humans, we all have feelings. It's not like you're from somewhere else, I'm from somewhere else. End of the day, before even class, religion, color, we're human.
Absolutely.
So why is there a discrimination of, just because you don't speak the same language, because you don't dress up the same? Yeah, I understand. Everyone has their own way of dressing, own way of speaking. Why is this just like a big thing?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like, I don't know about you, but do you think it's more accepting now? Because obviously you are a supermodel. You're not just a model. Does that
I
sound
don't know.
weird?
It does sound weird.
I feel weird saying it.
the
And
question
you're getting
is-
really shy about it because you've got all red. But you are a super you're talking about your childhood, and you're talking about even your teachers bullying. It's horrible. You've kind of talked about it because it was traumatizing. As you say, it stays with you, and there's probably loads that have happened to you. And that's even that's a surface level. That's cruel. It's real cruelty. And you talked about your struggle with language and coming over at 8 years old. I think also people wouldn't even know there were Sikhs in Afghanistan. I didn't. They predominantly, especially when you watch the TV, which no one should be doing, but kind of a predominantly Muslim country. But I wouldn't even think that there were Sikhs in Afghanistan at all.
So there are about 72 historic temples,
Yeah.
Gurdwaras in Afghanistan.
Wow.
There's a rich history. of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. There's a Chashma Sahib in Afghanistan as well. Chashma Sahib is where miracle water comes out. So that exists in Afghanistan. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to Baghdad, and on his journey to Baghdad, so I'm talking about Iran and Iraq. It's Iran, right? Baghdad, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
You're
I might be
asking
wrong,
someone that's
but basically Baghdad. So I believe it's Iran, yeah. So I believe he went there, and from there he came back, and that's where on his journey where Sikhs kind of grew up. He left a lot of disciples in Afghanistan during his time. That's how Sikhs kind of like started in Afghanistan. But it's a lot of history which existed in Afghanistan, but right now because of the war, well, not a war, but because of the occupation of the Taliban, and again, because of that reason.
So were you around that? Did you see that?
I was very young.
But you were around it?
I was around it, yeah. So my family did face a lot of trouble when we were there. That's the main reason why we left Afghanistan. Not just me, my Marcy as well. So our Marcy's husband was killed. But he was in Peshawar, which is very close to Afghanistan. So Jalalabad and Peshawar, they're very close by. Right. So I lived in Jalalabad. So Peshawar is like next door neighbors. And over there, my master's husband was killed. She lives in Canada now. Right. And it was, when something happens to someone else, you're like, oh, I'm really sorry. But when it happens to your own family, then you realize, shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, totally.
It's like it's okay to obviously, because you're not really facing that hard period. And when it really comes to you...
Doesn't seem real, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't really seem real.
No.
But when it does happen to you, that's where you're like, yeah, I think it's time. Yeah. So not just me, a lot of Afghans, a lot of Sikhs, not just Sikhs, but even Hindu families that lived in there. Yeah. I even know some Jewish that lived there as well. Really? That reached out to me on Twitter once.
That's amazing.
They told me more about their lives and everything, but they never really wanted anyone to know.
Because of the stigma of saying the word Afghanistan.
Not that. It just they never wanted they just didn't want anything impacting them.
Right. I suppose when you say Afghanistan, it's going to trigger a lot of things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very political.
It's very political.
Yeah, and stuff we're just not going to go into, but because I mean I don't know enough about it, and it just sounds very sad actually. From what we understand, Afghanistan being a very war-torn country.
It was just like UK.
This is what I mean. We don't know. I mean, I would never have put that compare the UK to Afghanistan, it being like that. It's very sad that you were forced out of your home country. You were forced out of your home. Family are being killed, and just to survive and just to stay alive, you've had to leave what you know and come over at such a young age as well. I mean, I don't think it's at any age is a good age, right? It's not ideal.
I think for me, it was still a bit better because I was very young. I'm talking about my families, my grandparents. My grandparents died unfortunately when they were there, but I'm talking more like my dad. They had to leave a lot of their golden memories behind to come over here. And even today, if I were to talk to someone who are much more elder, like who are probably the same age as my grandparents, they wouldn't talk more about it. Reason being is because it's not good memories.
No.
It's
been tainted, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's all the hardship that they have faced when they were in Afghanistan, which they don't want to be reminded of again. They had a lot of good times, don't get me wrong, but when those hard feelings come across, they're just like, we'd rather not talk about it because it's bringing that trauma back again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's leave it to that.
Yeah, I think, you're right. And so, look, we've talked about your film work and stuff like that. So where did modelling come from then? Because you said you wanted to go to modelling, but why did you want to go to modelling?
I felt, like I told you, Guru Dev Ji.
So
I wanted to spread the name in a different way, and I wanted people to kind of know about what a Sikh is, and especially what an Afghan Sikh is.
So have people said to you, you've got a look, like there's something about you that you could do it, like?
No, when I started, I had no beard. I was very tall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Like
Oh.
if you see my
I
old
realised you've
images.
trademarked your beard and stuff.
Yeah, but when I started, I didn't have a beard.
No.
Yeah, I had a little mustache and a little side fence, but that was really it. But over time it grew. I started off at Model Mayhem.
Right.
It was like, let's say it's like a Facebook for
Oh, okay.
models.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it took me nearly 2 years to get my first gig.
Wow.
But before that, even before finding out what Model Mayhem was, my mom and my parents, bless them, like my mom, because I was 17.
Yeah.
So my mom used to go with me to different places, different agencies, studios.
Just knock on the door and just say,
Yeah, like, is there anything that we can do? We're gonna start off like modeling. What can we do? They're like, okay, you need to make a portfolio. We will charge you X amount just to get your photos printed. We will charge you X amount just to get photos done. We will charge you X amount just for the fees. Right. So it was a lot. So for 2 years constantly, my mom went to Victoria, Paddington, Central. Like I would say over 50 places just for me to kind of like get and step myself into the industry. Yeah. And someone who doesn't know, and someone me, like obviously we've seen the influencing modeling, but when it comes to actual modeling, it's cutthroat. It's not easy.
Wow. So talk to us about that. Like,
so when I first, so Model Mayhem first, when stylist asked me to do a job for him, it was only a magazine job, but it was very good. Like they were very polite. It was really nice. So I did that, and after 2 weeks, I was actually here.
Oh, oh wow, yeah, amazing.
Yes, so I did my first major show, I would say, for Nicholas Daly. He's very big now. He's a very nice guy. And I played tabla.
Did you?
Yes, that was my first ever show.
As a model?
Yes, so I was playing tabla with Nicholas Daly's girlfriend, who now they're married, so she didn't. Nabila. And she was playing the sitar, and we played Yamini. Wow. And I was playing Deen Tal, and it was very fun. And then from there, I tended to did more jobs and more London Fashion Week. And I was...
So wait, so people would come up to you and go, do you want to model for us?
Yeah, because there's no Sikh models or a guy with a turban on. So it was basically me.
Why do you think they wanted you? Because for a long time, there was a standard look of what a supermodel was.
I think they always wanted a change. Right. But bringing that change was the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like you can only do certain things when that, let's just say you wanted to try a masala chai.
Yeah.
But you never had the masala. Right. So you always had the chai, but you had to find that masala from somewhere.
Okay.
So once you made that masala chai, you tried it, everyone else wants to try the same thing.
Exactly.
So it was more like that.
Okay.
But even today, very bad example, I don't know if it's the right way or not.
It's all right.
But I think even today somewhere I'm used as a token.
So I wanted to talk about that because that also is quite sensitive. And I always... when I talk to directors and other actors, I do talk about tokenism because I always say, like, there's a place for it, but it can't be there for long. You know, it's for people just to see and go, another look, great. Like, we could explore that, right? Because there's still no one else like you. So how do you feel about feeling tokenized in this industry?
It's quite... daunting actually, and somewhere it kind of hurts your self-esteem.
Right.
And look, modeling's always about rejections.
Right.
I always get rejected for many things.
Even now,
and of course I haven't really done a proper job for nearly a year now.
Really?
Yeah. So because of, I don't know. Right. Things change. I think it's the industry as well right now. Things are a bit different. Okay. They're slowing down, not just for me, a lot of models. But whenever I am casted for an option, it's always like we need someone who's diverse,
right?
Or someone who's like a different face.
Okay.
But I just want to be a model.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
just give me a job for for how I am.
Yeah.
You know, rather than we're choosing particularly for that look, which I understand. Don't get me wrong. Like, people on a very high level, they have their own way of selling an item. So I understand that somewhere you want to include diversity, but where I think that it doesn't really need, and you just need a model, use that.
So you're kind of trying to be inclusive but you're being exclusive, if you get what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work like that.
You can't. The thing is, because I'm just a model, I'm not the one who makes choices or chooses these options. I can't decide what I can and can't do in modeling industry, and that goes for a lot of models out there. And modeling is not easy. It takes a lot of rejections, a lot of no's. Like even like nearly after 2 years, I got my first job. You know, a lot of people would not wait that long.
Right. Yeah.
And it's difficult.
It's heartbreaking, isn't it?
It is heartbreaking. Like at one point, I was like, okay, cool. I was like, cool. I'm gonna give it up. Like if this year doesn't happen, I'm done. Fine. And a lot of years, I have always said that to myself. Like, okay, cool. If it doesn't happen, I'm done with it. But then it comes back.
Yeah.
Which I'm really grateful for. And so when I started off as just catwalks. Then
insane. I just started as a catwalk. I mean,
like
that's
just on
crazy.
Catwalks in 2017, 18. That's when I started. Up until 2019, nearly beginning of COVID.
Right.
It was all magazines and catwalks. After COVID, it's always been campaigns. Right. Okay. So it changed. Yeah. Literally. Obviously, that's where the money is, campaigns and everything. But the whole dynamic changed. Yeah. And I do a very less, like I've only done a few magazines this last couple of years, like after COVID. Only front covers, surprisingly. And I haven't really done a proper catwalk after COVID.
So let's talk about that, because do you think this is something, I talk about beauty standards a lot. A lot of beauty standards I talk about very unattainable, right? I mean, it's just, you can't have cosmetic surgery for everything, right? Because if we're talking about authenticity, if you're talking about loving yourself and self-acceptance, I'm not sure if that means 20 visits to the doctor to have surgery. I mean, you know, and I know that's quite a huge conversation to have. So I want to talk about more about the beauty standards though. Like, are they changing? Because for me, I understand that there's the beauty standards, I feel like, do change. So we've got you as a supermodel, right? But then you're saying you haven't had a job for a while. So did you feel like you became a trend? Because ultimately, the decision makers that make the decisions for you to be on there, do they actually see you as beautiful? Are they seeing, I mean, there's a lot of campaigns out there for plus size and like, you know, disability, things like that, which I think is wonderful. And there's a place for it. But ultimately, are they a trend? Are they just something that will entice a new audience in for the short term? But in the long term, it's actually the very skinny, very like amazingly the features and like, you know, everything like that, long hair. Is that why do I think my question is, why do designers always actually go back to that rather than stay with?
I think it's always changing. Right. Fashion is always changing, and you're right. Everything has a trend. Right. Somewhere down the line, maybe I was a trend, and maybe I will come back. You never know. Look out for me.
Will do.
But I guess so. But going back to main fashion streams, let's just say Chanel, Gucci, Versace, they've always had that mentality and always wanted to keep certain models in their catwalks and their ramparts.
And you see that still?
Yeah, certainly. Because when I was in Milan and Paris, I was there last year. I didn't get no job in Milan or Paris. Job. Not even one. I was told like, oh, come back, maybe we'll see if we can put you somewhere. But one of the casting directors told me that I didn't fit because of how I looked compared to
their
other
beauty
models.
Standards.
I don't know if that was standards, but they wanted to keep the theme the same.
What's the theme? What theme is that then?
I don't know if you've seen the Armani fashion show last year. What they did was they had all the models, everyone had braids on.
Oh,
So it was a certain way each, like the theme or the certain way all the models looked.
right.
And maybe that's why they said that. I obviously have nothing against
I
anyone.
mean, we're going into like cultural appropriation now.
Yeah,
aren't we,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But I have no idea what they have in their mind. But I believe everything has a trend for them and they wanted to keep that as a trend. But sometimes it very much confuses me of what is the idea of what they want to do. Because Louis Vuitton, when Pharrell did his show,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that video of after the show, they had a little party where they were playing Punjabi Sikh songs, like Punjabi
Right.
song.
Okay.
You know, the very much popular Punjabi
Yes. Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The BMC and things like that.
MGMC,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So that was played during the show, but you don't really have anyone classed as a Sikh or a
Salvation or
Punjabi or someone
right.
there. So it just always kind of like, I don't know. I don't know, are they trying to be very trendy or trying to include everyone, but at the same time be very like, no, we have our own ways, but we're going to have somewhere with some bits of parts of you
Right.
included in our, shows.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I do. And I kind of like, does it make you angry?
I'm a very calm person.
No, but as in like, do you know what I mean? Not kind of literally,
It's like,
but it's frustrating,
it does
right?
kind of, it doesn't make me angry. It makes me question them of why they do it.
Question their values.
Yeah, of what is right and wrong, or I don't know what they have in their mind of why they have chose a certain way of doing things. Because fashion, although it's about fashion, but I believe it's also about promoting a certain way of what they want people to see.
Yeah.
Because everything is connected.
Yeah.
Everything is connected.
Right.
When I say fashion, when I say music, everything has some sort of connection of a hierarchy or a higher level. I'm not going to get too deep into it.
There's a decision maker, right?
There is a decision.
Ultimate control of what's going on.
But I don't want to say too much into it.
No, I get that,
cool.
right?
Because but I do believe like everyone has their own ways of doing things, and I'm not against it, but I do feel like there is some way that needs to be changed to include everyone around you. If you're going to be including things, it's best to include the people as well who are part of that culture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I talk about things like that. I talk about when you make decisions. So, for example, the braids, right? I mean, I always question, did you have someone backstage of that? Someone behind the camera, part of the sort of creative production team or whatever, to actually say, you know what, that's a really good idea. Because I find a lot of the time when decisions are made like that, you're not getting the representation behind the camera kind of thing. But it's just somebody saying, you know what, let's do braids. That might bring, first of all, it might make some media coverage for us. So like highlight the product or highlight the designer or something. And whether it's good or bad, right?
Yeah. Sometimes bad has a very good name.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Wow.
So if you noticed, even on social media, something good would not stay there for a very long time. Something bad would trend for many, many years.
Right. I mean, I remember, was it Gucci?
Sure it was Gucci. Yeah. They had a turban on.
Yes, that's
and
it. That's right.
And
I still remember that.
See, a bad thing which everyone remembers.
But yet people still buy Gucci.
Yeah.
What is that about?
It's we can't control what people do right or wrong. And what I would say is, like, to a lot of brands out there, is if you're gonna be doing something that goes against the culture, or if you want to try to include a culture, do bring the real people into that culture to promote it. Because end of the day, you'll be ruining Gucci's name or any brand's name, because you'll be ruining your reputation by misinterpreting the way you do fashion, or how you put the culture out there. So best to include everyone around you, because that's what, life is about, bringing people around you and going together.
I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, and that's representation, right? That's what I want to talk. That's a representation that we need. And I think a lot of people might be thinking, like, so you've met supermodels, right? You've met a ton of them. Who's your favorite?
I'm still
Has
kind
there
of
been-
trying to meet one that I really want to meet.
Who is that?
So,
Can you say?
Waris Alawani.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my friend Alec, love him to bits.
Oh, amazing.
He's so he was in New York and he was with him and he texted me, I'm with someone you might know, Waris Alawani.
Did he not video call you? I mean, come on.
He was, I think he was somewhere out there, and
Right.
because he's always out to meetings, meeting great
Amazing.
people,
Yeah.
and so he texted me and kind of made me like glitter on like.
Oh.
So it's really, I really want to meet him because I feel like he has also influenced me to become who I am today. Because it's all about breaking barriers and staying to your grounds. When I was going, I think it was one of the shows. I'm not going to say who,
Okay.
but I was at one of the shows, and the stylist told me to shave my legs for the
Your
show.
legs?
Yes, for the show, and I said to him kindly, like, I really appreciate you having me here today,
Wow.
but I will not be able to shave any part of my body because it goes against my religion, as well as if I'm here to represent the true identity of my culture or who I am, I think it would not be right for me to shave any part of my body. And I said, I really appreciate you having me. And
You said it
yeah,
humbly.
yeah,
obviously.
I said, if you're going to have me at this show, amazing. If not, thank you so much. And I left.
And what was the brief?
Called him back.
Oh, nice.
So I did the show,
Oh, amazing.
called him back, still love this person,
Oh,
love his work,
amazing.
just amazing work. But that just showed me because
What courage.
sometimes other people who are around you do not know why they have said a certain thing to you. It's best to teach them in a nice way, not in an angry way. Because once you show them anger or you show them that they're doing something against or something like something very bad,
Yeah.
it's gonna make them question a lot of things. It also is gonna question your identity of who you are.
Right.
You know, let's just say you were being polite to a Sikh guy and the Sikh guy got angry at him.
Yeah.
You know, let's just say, for example, if I'm out somewhere and a white guy comes to me, goes like, you know, oh, you're a Punjabi, you wear a turban, you should have a drink. You know,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a cultural thing that okay, everyone's okay with it, but no, you have to kind of teach them in a nice way. Look, very nice for you to, you know, tell me to have a drink with you, but unfortunately, not. That's not what Sikh identity is.
Yeah.
It's not about drinking and getting wasted out there. You
Yeah.
just have to teach them the right way and have to do it in the right way as well, because you have to maintain your respect as well as someone else's and tell them about what is right and wrong. And that's how you're going to make a change, not by hyping up,
Yeah.
telling you're right and wrong. No, you're wrong, I'm right.
Yeah.
That's not how things work. You have to be very polite about it to make a change. And if Guru Nanak Dev Ji got angry out there and told everyone, oh no, you're wrong, oh no, you're wrong, that's not how the world works.
No.
You have to be very polite, very sweet,
Yeah.
because a lotus, you know, only like glows.
Yeah.
It comes out in a mud, you know. So you have to be the lotus. You have to be very calm and beautiful about things around you. So
Please.
yeah.
Oh, it's lovely.
just making sure that everyone out there, even if you have a bad day, get something good out from it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think as well, like, you stuck to your values. And I think a lot of people, and not just the modeling industry, but I think like in acting and stuff like that, you know, you sort of, you have to make decisions. And I think a lot of people worry it's like the end of their career, or they get like a reputation of saying no, or like a chip on your shoulder, or like, you know, those things as well. And I think that's why people are scared.
I've always questioned that.
Yeah.
One time, my agent, which again, I love him to bits, Charlie, I love you. And he was my second agent, I would say, and he SuperModel management. And Charlie once told me, Karanjee, needed to shave. Yeah, he goes like, it's nothing like not against you or anything, but I think for you to succeed in the modeling industry, you have to shave. And I said no. I spoke to my parents. I had a very down like
In depth.
in depth. We were like, Dad, do I have to shave
Yeah.
for me to do my career? He goes, look, you're here to make a change in the industry for how you are as a person. If you're gonna modify yourself, it's gonna stay with you forever.
Yeah.
You know, so
Because if they've got you to do that, then they're going to get you to like cut your hair. They no, like
exactly.
once someone sort of crosses that boundary a little bit, that means when you say yes to them, I feel like that means you've sort of welcomed them in for the next part, so they can actually get you sort of like the lines of boundaries are always changed
Exactly.
to adapt for them.
Yeah. So luckily, like my other agent was there. He was like, Charlie, we can't do that.
Stop it.
You know, we can't do that. Because the thing
Right.
is, if I'm here as a model, changing the industry, if I want to do that, if I want to bring that change, I have to again stay to my ground. I can't.
But
do
you've
that.
got modelling from the way you look.
Yeah,
That's the
what
point,
I wanted.
right? So
That's
how
what I
can you
wanted.
so something a look that got you in, how can then you take it
Like I
off?
said, when I
it's-
started my modeling career, I didn't have a beard.
No.
It was like
Okay, right.
the look changed over time because of my beard
Right.
started to grow, everything.
But did you find that you were getting less jobs?
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
right, you did.
Because after my beard came out, again, it's a pick and choose. Again, I think it also comes down to the I wouldn't say it's it slightly has changed. If I'd say it has slightly changed, but I wouldn't say that they have fully stopped. You know, there are clients out there that love this look, and some clients would not prefer this look because they wanted me to look younger, which obviously without me, like if I was to shave fully, yeah, I would look younger. But
You look so young.
sorry,
It's crazy to hear that because you look so young.
yeah, but
Like-
thank you. But yeah, it just how the industry works. They will prefer models with cheekbones coming out, and that's how some
You're so
clients
thin
want it.
already. This is what I like the modeling. Like, obviously, I'm never going to be a model or anything like that. But this is like the stories. It's like the same stories. They want you to be chiseled. They want you to be thin.
It's
like-
what's required.
Mm,
I think in any industry you go to, even let's say properties,
right.
you have to be very active. You have to,
Swagger. You know, like
you
kind
have to
of-
look
yeah.
very rich in a
Yeah.
way to kind of sell something.
Yeah.
And every industry has their own ways of chiseling something down. And I wouldn't say they're right or I wouldn't say they're wrong either, because that's what is required for them to sell the product. So I understand they want someone to be either shaved or something like that, but unfortunately that's not me.
So with all the experiences that you've had, like some great experiences, some not so great, and also the agent. So you've obviously had more than one agent.
I have more than one agent, but I have one agent in every country.
Oh, I see.
So it's not like I have 5 agents just in London. No.
I see. Right,
So I have an
okay.
agent in US, I have an agent in Germany, I have an agent in Paris. I did have an agent in Milan, but it's not the. I would say it's not a good location for me to work
Okay.
because of.
So
the
did you
clients.
decide to walk away from that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
That
and
must have
then
been hard.
it's hard, but I had to make that choice because for me to do the thing is I can't be wasting the agent's time and I can't be wasting my time. I have to make that decision. If something's working out for you, great. If it's not working out for you, then you have to change.
That's hard for people. And was that like an amicable conversation you had with the agent?
Yeah, so I had a mother agent who looked after all the other agencies for me. And then we had a conversation and then he's like, well, I'll put you out because it wasn't working out. And it was choice. He goes, if that agent's not working for you, then someone else will.
And also it's kind of like maintaining your well-being, your sort of mental health as well, because
It hits a lot.
yeah.
It hits you.
yeah.
That's why I do so many other jobs because you can't survive on modeling right now.
Mm,
You can once you obviously make it to the right top.
right.
You
So
know?
where are you then if you're not right?
I would say I'm still kind of like not beginning, but in the mid part of my career.
Okay.
Because I want to obviously meet
Upper mid kind of thing.
Yeah, upper
Yeah,
mid,
yeah.
mid. It depends on how you look at it. I still think I'm still in the beginning.
You
you
probably
know.
feel like that inside. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
what you
I
mean.
still feel like I'm still at the beginning. But for many other people, it might be like, no, it's changed.
Yeah.
But for me, everything I do, I'm always like, I'm just starting.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. But for me to get to the top, I think it comes down to the right agent and the right client and the right clout, which I will
Right.
get. And somewhere I need people to appreciate me for who I am rather than, you know, okay, I understand I'm not Punjabi, but that doesn't mean that I'm not Sikh.
Right. Yeah.
You know, somewhere I think out there, there's always been an ins and outs because I'm not Punjabi. I don't have that culture in me, and some people don't want to associate with me just because I'm not that, which I somewhere it hurts me because I've never said no to you just because you're not Punjabi, you're not Afghan.
Right.
You know, you're still a Sikh. Like, why am I being like, picking and choosing people just because of your background? And that's what people did to me in school.
Yeah.
They didn't pick me because I wasn't Punjabi or they didn't speak the language. But this is not about that. It's like going back to the same,
No, it's the same. It's like a cycle.
yeah,
And like it feels like what you're saying. It, in some respects, I don't know if I'm asking you the right way, but do you still feel like that vulnerable 8-year-old boy coming over from Afghanistan and just?
I do. That's why for me it's sometimes very hard to talk about because I've never really said this out loud or out there anyway because I don't want to create that heat. I want everyone to be peaceful. That's what Guru Dev Ji was about. He was about that peace. Like we do kirtan, we go Gurdwara every day.
Yeah.
Why? To kind of like thank God that He's given us life, given us everything. And the first word of Guru Granth Sahib just says, "Ik Oankar," one universal God. Then why are we picking and choosing people? Like we're all the contradicting what like the Sikhism or the what it says, but and at the same time we're not like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Pick.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to follow it or do you not want to follow it? Like, how does this work? So it's just the one thing which I want is unity. I would prefer if you're out there listening to me, it's like, I have nothing against you in any way. I just prefer to be appreciated in the same way that you would appreciate someone else. Just
100%.
because I wouldn't want that, And same way goes to me. Like, it's not like I'm going to neglect you in any way just because you're Punjabi.
Yeah.
You're still a brother to me, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm there. I'm out there for you. Like it doesn't bother me if you're someone else. Like even if it's not Sikh or non-Sikh person, you're still a brother to me. At the same time, it's just I prefer that in our community, I would prefer people to be more united rather than against one another.
Yeah.
Because that's what kind of broke us in the beginning. That's
still
what
breaking us.
Yeah, still breaking us today. Because the first word, which obviously the Gurdwani tells us, is to be united and remember that there's one universal God. We're kind of turning that away from us.
And like the circles I go around and stuff, like I think people are losing their religion. Do you find that? Like there's not a lot of like.
Look, I'm not there to say what's right and wrong for you. If you want to follow Sikhism, follow it. If you don't want to follow it, don't follow it. But I wouldn't say that pick and choose, because what
I
it
think
does.
a lot of people do though.
I would say like if you fully believe in it, believe in it. Or if you don't believe in it, I understand you want to pick and choose. That's right, but at the same time, don't say like, I don't want to do a certain thing because actually I'm not going to go into it.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into it.
Yeah, then don't.
Yeah. I would just say whatever you believe, it's right for you.
Yeah.
I think everyone is on your own journey. Like, do what works for you. But if it doesn't work for someone else, just don't tell them like, oh no, you're right or wrong. Let them be on their own journey because everyone learns everything from their own experience.
100%, yeah.
Because I can't tell you, oh, why don't you know how the camera works?
Yeah.
Because you already used it. You have to, you have
like
to
you
have
saw
a long
earlier.
experience. Yeah. It's like, I think you have to kind of experience it on a longer time where for you to understand how the camera works. Like if I tell you, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't, you have to experience it, and that's what life is about. It's all about experience, and that's what Sikh means as well, learner.
Yeah.
So you're learning the way, like learning every day new things, and let it be.
Yeah.
You know, don't judge people just because they're not following what you do. That doesn't mean that they're right and you're wrong, or you're right, they're wrong. It just basically means we're both on a different wavelength and different path in our life. So
yeah, I feel like you should talk more. I really do. It's so philosophical, and you know, it's really nice and wonderful. I'm really honoured that you came on, because this is what I love about my podcast. It's like getting to know people. Like this is what I mean. I don't think when I researched you, I couldn't find anything like to hear your voice. Just what you look like, you know, what you look like, obviously, but to put the voice to the image kind of thing. Like, so just very quickly, because I mean, it's been nearly an hour. Like, it goes so quickly, doesn't it? Yeah, I know, it just goes so quickly. I feel like I'm in my living room though, just like us chatting, you know. Do you still love modelling?
I love modelling.
Yeah.
Even today. There's a lot of like goods and bads. It's a lot of it's been a roller coaster. And some days which I feel like, oh shit, I don't think it's gonna work out for me again. And some days something else comes in. That's what modeling's about. It gives you a bit of a rush.
Yeah.
You know, like when you take a photo, I don't know, obviously this is a digital camera.
Yeah.
But if you ever take a photo on an analog camera, you have a 24 reel.
Right, okay.
So you know,
you're telling me things I don't know, but yeah.
Okay, so you like the older days, days they have a reel.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you know, on those cameras you wait for them to come up.
Right.
That's what fashion is about. It gives you a bit of a rush. You wait for like things to come up. You're like, yes, because once you've done a job, you never really see the pictures that day until the photographer does everything and then sends you the photo. And once it comes out, you're like, damn.
God, amazing.
I think that's what fashion is, and also it helps me tell more people about who I am. It tells people about my history, my culture, and someone out there who's looking at a turban, they kind of, you know, they want to learn more about it. And when my Primark campaign came out, a lot of people reached out to me. A lot of people saw it online. A lot of people saw it in stores.
Yeah.
And it created a bit of a buzz, like, who's that person with the turban? And that's what a lot of people started to research what a Sikh is and started to understand what an Afghan Sikh is as well. So modeling, it's not just about me being, you know, going there to just go to a shoot and make money.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I've made enough money anyways. I haven't made enough money modeling.
Really?
No, it comes and goes anyways. That's what life is about.
Right.
But I think one thing I've loved is that it leaves a mark. And in life, you're going to make some, you're going to lose some, but it's the memories, the people that stay together and stay there forever. And that's life. Maybe, you know, you're going to have tons of jobs in your life. You're going to be doing a lot of things like I'm doing right now, just to survive or just to make it out there. But never forget that respect is something that you can't just make overnight. It comes it takes years and years, but it takes seconds to lose. So whatever you do, if you are, you know, doing a business, if you're doing photography, if you're doing video, if you're doing designing, or working even as a pharmacist or working as a lawyer, just respect everyone around you and just appreciate people around you, because not everyone's going to have a good day and not everyone is on the same wavelength as you. Everyone has a different way of looking at things because everyone has experienced different things in their life at different times. So just appreciate one another and just stay happy.
What a lovely ending to our conversation. I don't even feel like it was an interview. I feel like it was just a convo with you. So thank you so much. I'm honoured that you came on my podcast first. So I'm first before anyone.
Yes.
And I'd love you to come on again. Thank you so much for coming today. Thank you, Karanjee.
Thank you so much. Thank you.